Hey, everybody! Anybody who catches this live, you're watching, hit the like button.
Yes.
Um, yes. And this is the Introvert Boricua, and I wanted to do this stream on Sunday, and I'm being joined by the man of Parkchester, New York. That will be Jose Negron. What's going on, sir?
Good evening, guys. How's everyone doing tonight?
Doing pretty
Yes.
good.
And also, I wanted to make sure to introduce my dude Rakim, the 18th letter. What's going on, man?
What's up to my boy, the introvert Boricua, aka Ramon, and what's up to everybody out there online who's ever viewing this live stream. Shout out to you guys.
Hmm.
So basically, is something that this is something that we have been talking about little by little, trying to get to this point. There are, of course, this is open topic. There is no kind of like a bullet points for this live stream. We can touch on whatever. But I did wanted to start by getting it out the way. What is obvious, what the predominant subject right now, which is the what's going on with the war with the Ukraine, and trying to it's kind of difficult. It's kind of difficult with what's going on right now, trying to sort out what is actually the fact and what is actually or what is basically just hysteria because blowing things out of proportion. Now, of course, when there were tensions, it will be easy to make certain assumptions, but unfortunately, there is already combat going on. There are lives that are being lost. But what is more worrying is the whole nuclear weapon talk. They're gonna be uh, the different parts that are talking about possibly kind of getting their nuclear weapons ready. This is something that can affect everybody because one of those bombs can detonate and it can kill us all. I mean, it can. It's not something that necessarily is going to be contained to where the bomb is dropped. It's something that can get into the atmosphere and the winds and all that radiation, whatever. It can kill us all over here. That's just not something that can be dismissed and can be taken lightly. Now, uh, deterrents are important. I can understand why there are countries that are going to have deterrents. So other powers, other nations have to think twice and thrice before trying to intervene with them. Uh, but hopefully, even though there is combat, even though there is intervention, there is no denying that. We can't act like that's not happening. But still, hopefully, it doesn't get to that. And it's only been one time in history where atomic bombs have been used. Now, the last thing that I have read is that France already kind of made a warning because apparently they do have atomic weapons, and and the Russian president Vladimir Putin was talking about uh, putting the people that handle their nuclear weapons on alert for the possibility of having to use them. So I don't know if you guys have heard anything about that.
Yes, I have heard about it. It could be a lot of saber rattling, trying to uh, scare other countries from getting involved. I mean, for what I understand, the whole thing that's being done is that the Ukraine wants to join NATO, and the Russian Federation, has a huge problem with that.
Right, right.
Okay.
Yeah, this is something that's been going on for quite some time. We all know that Ukraine was part of the Soviet Union because they were under the control of Russia, who occupied that territory and quite a few territories in Eastern Europe. And they have been wanting to take back that territory for quite some time. The tensions have been high, but usually the United States and other countries was able to intervene and keep things at bay. But now we're at a point where things have boiled up to the surface, and like you said, Ramon, it's action that's being taken as far as um, it's war. It's war. Lives are being lost right now. People are trying to fight back. Other people are trying to flee the country because this is a serious situation of someone trying to occupy that state. So right now it's very hectic, and this is something that we all have to pay attention to because, like you said, if nuclear warheads are if people are being threatened with nuclear warheads, that can be the end of everyone. That's something that is not to be
Yeah.
taken lightly. If anybody know the history of that time, the one time that you said nuclear warheads were used, which was on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in Japan, then we know the devastating effects that it had. We saw the aftermath of that destruction. And
Yeah. Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
And to put it into perspective, we're talking about nuclear weapons that are many times more powerful than the two that hit Japan in 1945.
Oh,
I apologize. It's just that sometimes you have people trying to ring intercom to get into the building. So,
no, I understand. I understand.
yeah. I mean, that's what happens living in Rochester.
Ah, that's right. That's right. And so far, what is being what is being talked about more, it has to do more with the sanctions that they are trying to put on onto the country, and it's being it's going to be damaging for them, of course. Um, they were taking off what is called the SWIFT banking system. It's kind of like an international thing,
Hmm.
and the Western powers, they are making it unavailable for banking systems in Russia to be able to have any kind of monetary exchange, because that's the way they're fighting back. I mean, the Ukrainian people are having to fight them on the ground, but the Western powers, uh, they're fighting against Russia also, but they're fighting them in their pockets. That's really the the other way that they can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's just that, look, realistically, that's the best we can do is use economic sanctions. Um, because the last thing we want to do is send our men and women to go to the Ukraine to fight a messy war.
yeah, yeah,
and I think the way things are going in the United States today, uh, that's going to be difficult. Not saying you're not going to be able to find people to recruit, but the way that things have developed here in the Western world, these young boys today are not the young boys of yesteryear. So
yeah.
a lot of people are not interested in, really trying to go and fight a war. That's not really, that's not really on their things to do list.
It's just that people over here are kind of tired because we've been dealing with war constantly for the last 20 years, and it's understandable that there are people that they just don't want to hear about it anymore. And I'm one of them. I'm one of them. Like for real, I can't do it.
I
I can't
agree.
do it. I don't want to hear about continuing wars that only benefit a few, because there is a lot of money involved. So if they ever say anything about joining, kind of like joining up, actually sending troops, which maybe they already are, considering how the government of the United States loves to be at war with somebody all the time. Uh, it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me that the there is there is already things going on, something going on, something being planned, because there are, like, for example, there are, I know, because it was confirmed by some people that I work with that are from Romania, and they were telling me themselves that there is a U.S. military base in Romania, which is fairly close to where the Ukraine is. So uh, one can count on there being troops already stationed there, because there is already a base there, and there are already bases on kind of like the eastern, the I should say, on of the west side of the Ukraine, in several of the countries that are close by. Uh, so they could be getting ready. Hopefully, they don't have to go in. There has been too much. Nothing was resolved in Afghanistan. Nothing was really resolved in Iraq either. So
That's true. That's definitely true.
the
Actually,
track,
Iraq gotten worse.
yeah. It's just the track record right now. So when it comes to putting troops on the ground, and what the results from that come out are not the best. So I don't know if it's gonna be any difference on this one.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I agree. I think a lot of the times we know that when the United States goes to war, the United States occupies, certain territories and countries is to protect their own self-interest. Due to the amount of lives that was lost in Afghanistan and Iraq, like you said, Ramon, a lot of people are just tired because it was crazy to see how long the United States occupied Afghanistan, only to leave an abundance of advanced, weaponry and technology right into the hands of Al Qaeda. So, yeah, it was like that was like, it's almost like the people that were involved in war that sacrificed their lives died in vain to a certain extent, only for things to go in the direction that they was before we occupied the area.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
It it's a shame that we're living in such a time as this, and and the fact, I mean, we're still dealing with C-19 and its effects. I mean, because close to 1 million people have died in this country, not to mention countless and millions have died and got infected worldwide. And then, the fact of the matter is, we have become weak to a lot of countries. So when they see weakness, they're going to exploit it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true to an extent. That's definitely true. We still have a strong military base, but that's about all the United States has right now, because the advanced technology that China is doing, and with Russia, and I believe Russia and China are allied, if I'm not mistaken. Um, People see that the U.S., even if we're still on top right now, we don't have long we before we get knocked down a few pegs. So
Well, this country is very similar to the Roman Empire in the sense that um, they have a decline. First of all, they had a decline economically. Then they have a decline as far as morals concerned. And then they eventually had a decline as far as militarily. So, I mean, how long does the United States have before it goes the way of Rome?
Yeah. Yeah. No, and the thing is that we're talking about maintaining imperial powers. And imperial power is very costly. and that's kind of like driving up the price of inflation, driving up the national debt. That is what it is what already over 30 trillion. I mean, it's
Hmm.
just and it's only that is going to be passed down to the next generation for them to deal with, because we're not gonna be paying it off. We're not gonna be doing that. We're not gonna be dealing with it. We're not gonna be solving it. We're gonna be passing it off to someone else.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate because it's very responsible. I mean, it's our fault too, because we're
Yeah.
not demanding it to be solved, because we cannot brag about being the richest country in the world if we have a debt of over 20 trillion or 30 trillion. I mean, it
Yeah,
doesn't work
that's
like
true.
that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Definitely. That's when you know, it's just you're rich on the surface, but in real life, you don't have the money. You got a large, overwhelming debt that you have to pay, and you're trying to pay that in increments to keep, to keep things from going left. So, of course, the United States has a serious debt. Of course, we're not the most educated compared to other countries, and we're behind. We're behind on a lot of things. So right now is within the next 20 to 30 years, maybe even longer. I say about 40 years. It's not looking good right now as far as the advancement of the United States goes.
I think it'll be less time.
Well,
Maybe.
we're gonna have to get ready then, because if
Y-
it's gonna be in our lifetime, then we're gonna have to get ready. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
I can picture it right now. All these countries like, oh, I've been waiting. I've been waiting for this. This moment
Yeah.
has come.
Yeah.
So, and that's
Mhm.
unfortunate. But like you said, we have, gotten ourselves involved in, the into other countries' affairs for so long. And America's foreign policy is trash. It's always been trash. And it has harbored a lot of resentment from other countries as far as, how they feel about the United States. Because what we see through rose colored glasses here, with us all, being from here, we don't see was what a lot of other people that's living in these countries see, as far as bombings from the United States, chemical weapons from the United States that have either killed their family members or have devastating effects on their lives. um the United States occupying land, or murdering people in a small town where they're occupying. We don't see any of these things. And a lot of people, that's going to harbor resentment, especially even when you look at the Israeli Palestine conflict. A lot of people try to say that oh, the United States was just not like had a strong relationship with Israel just to have a strong relationship with Israel. No, the United States specifically has a relationship with Israel because Israel is right there in the smack dab in the middle of the Middle East. They know besides Israel, they have no other allies in the Middle East. Therefore, they can use that territory to spy on other countries to make sure if nobody's plotting against them and no one's trying to do something that's going to jeopardize America's self-interest. And of course we saw what happened with the Israeli Palestine conflict, and as far
Yeah.
as them constantly pushing the border back, you know like because they feel that they can, because they're backed by the US.
Oh,
And it's
but
not
that's something.
really.
Yeah, but that's something that you can't talk too much about, because you're gonna be called an anti-Semite. I
Yeah,
mean, but
yeah,
no, we have to establish what the facts is, uh, because after the Second World War, the state of Israel was established with the help of the recently created UN. It was with their backing. So there's several countries involved. So since then, it has been expansion of the Israel territory and the contraction of the Palestine territory. So it's like more people having to live in a constricted space. It's been happening for a long time. The whole crisis, the whole thing with Gaza and all of that, that was created. That was created. The Palestinians were free in their own land, and
Right.
they may have welcomed Israel. But then the expansion started, and to this day, they are, all that fighting that they do is always it's easy to put the label of terrorist towards the Palestinians, but not seeing what actually is happening. I mean, I will have to look it up, and maybe we can touch on it on some other time. But there was an interview that I came across of this Israel citizen that was being interviewed by a Muslim here in the States, and they were talking about it. They were talking about the he was somebody who was the son of an Israeli general, and they were talking about what actually happened. And this man, while being interviewed by this Muslim man here in the States, was giving proper context to the to the to the conflict, and was writing a book about it and all. But not trying to get too much into that, because you know how it is. I mean, there are certain
Oh,
subjects that one cannot talk about, because one gets called a name, or one can end up getting kind of like a censor, because
yeah.
that's the thing. I mean, there are certain things that we can't really go too much into because of censorship. Censorship is a real thing, and there is another matter of censorship that we can touch on it in a little while.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely. And
yeah,
I
but
think
we're dealing with that too.
what
Well,
you're saying is, oh, I'm sorry, Jose, go right ahead.
actually, not long ago, I was on Radical Latino had a stream, and they were talking about. Um, I'm trying to remember what it was. Well, I don't remember what was the topic, but all of a sudden, in the middle of the stream, the stream ended, and what happened was that YouTube sent an email stating that he had violated some sort of community guidelines.
Yeah, yeah. It's something that you have to be very careful with, who you talk about. Yeah.
Yeah, that actually we dealt on that topic on my first live stream regarding
Hmm.
censorship.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. I don't think, me personally, I don't think the U.S., don't get me wrong, of course, I love being a U.S. citizen. I love being here. I do believe that we do have some democracy more than other countries, but in a lot of ways, I don't think the U.S. is no different, because they do attack, freedom of speech here, even though it's written as the First Amendment. Me and you have spoken before, Ramon. Of course, they attack the Second Amendment, because the U.S. wants to have an image that we are a free country, but it wants to, behind the scenes, kind of manipulate things to a degree to make it where you bend to their will. So as far as censorship goes, you can say certain things, but it may be consequences behind that, like affecting, of course, your money, or will make it very difficult for you to work. And of course, with the Second Amendment, we know, like, it's states in the United States where it's a may issue state, but they find every reason to not issue you a firearm to be willing to protect yourself. So those are pretty much states where no firearms are allowed legally. So, I believe in a lot of ways the United States mirrors different countries. They're just, how the term goes, I'll, rule with an iron hand, but with a velvet glove. And,
Hmm.
over that iron hand. So, of course, we have our freedoms here, and I love it here. I love it here. But we know how, the ways that the United States can manipulate certain things within their control behind the scenes, while trying to maintain an image that they're better than everyone else, or that they're the good guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, if you take a look at my stream that I did um, last month regarding whether or not the pandemic is over, you will see a notation where it says COVID-19 vaccine, get the latest information from the CDC. It's like every time that you talk about COVID, that they're gonna put that there. I guess they want to make sure that we you don't spread any misinformation.
Well, yeah, it's just that there is that thing about how there are certain words that if you say it on YouTube, then there are kind of like automatic recognizers, voice. It's the technology. There are certain words that you cannot say, as we all know, like the four-letter word for sexual assault and things.
That sounds like rhymes with grape. I know.
You can't say that one because because apparently YouTube recognizes it, and then they can flag your stream and all, and well, it's very prohibited. I do believe that there should still be freedom of speech, of course, being being done responsibly, but unfortunately, there are others that want to define for you what is being responsible, or they want to be selective about it. It depends on what is being talked about.
Actually, I covered something in I think it was one of my short videos, because now YouTube has a thing like before you enter any video, what they'll do is they'll take a look at your content, and then they'll make a determination whether or not it's acceptable to be aired or not to be aired.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, this is
yeah.
a far cry from the way things used to be, and it just goes to show you how YouTube actually built this platform off the freedom of speech in the beginning. But once they, got the money and those endorsements and rubbing elbows with the rich elite, they decided to
Mhm.
change up their guidelines. Because I can remember when YouTube was literally the wild wild west. You can get on here, you can say anything, you can play music, you can talk about various topics uncensored. Now things have changed, and things have changed a lot compared to 2008, 2009, and
Yeah, because
2010.
right, because it has become more corporate. So
Yep.
to be able to secure all of that advertising money, they have to kind of like clean things up. It's kind of like what I remember hearing about what they were gonna be doing with OnlyFans. They were gonna kind of clean it up, and there were certain content that wasn't gonna be allowed anymore. But then they changed that. They were programmed to do that, but they changed and kept it as it was because of um, uh, pressure from the users, and they were under pressure to not do that, so they didn't do it. But there was
Yeah.
a time. My
Yep.
understanding is that there was a time that on YouTube you could put up like pornographic content and all, and that was fine for a time. So, but not
Yeah.
anymore, obviously.
Yep. That was definitely a time. They got then they got pressured by those strong independent ladies, and
Oh, oh, another a
you
whole
know
different subject.
Speaking speaking about the so-called independent ladies, for
Yeah.
next month, I'm gonna be doing a two-part series regarding toxic femininity.
Oh, definitely, definitely. I
oh
mean,
man,
some things
I'll
can be said.
try
Some
my
things can
best
be
to
said
make sure
about
I'm there.
yes, yes. I mean,
So
and speaking when it comes to the whole thing about uh, censorship and being able to speak freely about certain things, that was something that I wanted to be able to talk about. But we're all guys right now, so I did to take the liberty to invite Miss Kfit to
yes,
join.
I know. She told me she was unable to join the stream.
Yeah, yeah. Because I wanted to get her perspective on the whole thing. What was going on with Tina Knowles, who is Beyonce's mom, and the
Yeah.
backlash that she was getting because of the docu series that she was releasing about the whole thing about the stereotypes and the profiling of Black American men. And there were a lot of women that were mad. They were mad about that because there was they started talking about like they were the everything that they get they deserve and things like that, and like really white supremacist talk, but it was coming from certain Black American women, and because I'm not part of that community, I didn't want to get too much into that because it's not, I know that it's not my place. That's why I wanted to make sure that, of course, Rakim being here and Miss K Fit could join in and could give kind of like a like an objective uh, opinion on that. But maybe this it can be done later on. Then I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. One thing I do hope that at least um, for one part of the two-part series, Denise would be able to share her insight regarding toxic femininity. We just have to see how it goes. Um, because because of certain situations that are going on, and I'm
Hmm.
not going to go any further than that.
Okay, I see.
And as far as toxic femininity goes, it has definitely taken over, and it goes to show you that whatever money is put behind, whatever strings are pulled behind the scenes on whatever subject, it can take off like a rocket. And before you know it, people that are not don't have the range to critically think can be brainwashed into believing this rhetoric, and that's exactly what's being pushed, even with the Tina Knowles situation. Me as a Black American man, that's something that has always, being racially profiled, different things like that, because we know people have prejudices. Everyone has prejudices. And
Yeah.
if you look at the news day in, day out, and you see a bunch of Black faces that are criminally active, or if you see, or you may have had a bad experience where someone who happens to be Black American might have committed a criminal act against you, that changes people's mindset, especially if you have those experiences and those experiences are being backed by the media. But the funny thing is that that is all surface level. No one says what causes these people to react under these conditions. What caused a person to go out here and commit crimes? And don't get me wrong, some people are just evil, but in a lot of the
Yeah.
cases, it is based off of my personal experiences. It has been a lot of the things that have been done to the Black American community in order to create this situation that we're dealing with right now. Whether we talk with we've already talked about this numerous times, or whether we talk about everything from the war on drugs in recent time to redlining, job discrimination,
Yeah.
predatory loans, predatory lending, blockbusting. Um, I can go on for days. Predatory. What's the other one? Rent to buy, predatory lending, and and renting to buy.
Yeah.
Everything that has been done in this country in order to keep Black people 5 steps behind,
Yeah.
especially white Americans. And all of this, and then on top of it, before it was a media to show criminally active Black people, it was a media to show Black people in the sense of being dumb, in the sense of being slow, in the sense of you know uh, these people are not human. And that has divulged into what we're seeing now. That's why when we say reparations is repairs for all of the things that have been done to put Black Americans into this type of position. And we're not talking about all. I know lots of Black Americans, including myself, that are well advanced, and it's a lot of us that have advanced through into the state of duress that we've been living under in conditions in this country for God knows how long. But it is. But when you even look at the statistics and numbers on crime and different things like that, the numbers are minuscule compared to a group of 40 million people. But we do know that it's areas in every inner city where it's pockets of crime, where those areas have been neglected, have been pretty much dismissed when it comes to funds from the city and from the government to be able to give these areas resources. The only time these areas ever get resources if they're being gentrified. And that is something that I have seen time and time again. And as far as these women go, is in my personal opinion, based off of what I've seen, most of it is white supremacist talk. A lot of it is just self hate, in my personal opinion. And some of it has to do with the fact that historically, for long periods of time since the feminist movement, black women have had one up on black men, where the resources that they've gotten from the government, the resources that they've gotten in general, once a person is in power over somebody, it's an imminent fear that you can lose that you can lose whatever crumbs that you're getting,
Yeah.
because they don't want that. So they have also been brainwashed by the rhetoric and brainwashed to believe, these images and everything, to the point that you even have some women that saying black women are a separate race from black men. This is a complete mental illness, and
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. The science doesn't support that. I mean, that's
yeah,
I have heard statements that have to do with trying to make it seem like you are a separate species altogether from the woman in your group,
hmm
which is not true. That's just scientifically. I mean, factually, that's just not true. I mean, uh, you the women in your group cannot reproduce by themselves. I
yeah,
mean, if they were really a different species, they will be able to reproduce by themselves without you, and they can't. So you are
and
part of the same species.
yeah, and we know that, but Uh, and the funny thing is, well, I would tell young black men as well, because one thing I get sick of, tired of, especially when it comes to us as black men, I get sick of us trying to explain ourselves, because I notice it's a urge to keep trying to explain ourselves, to try to make ourselves look like we're not evil the way people portray us to be, or we are doing this, and we try to explain to the, I'm way past that, because I know I see it for what it is. And for what it is, it's not about, they a lot of these people, they know that you're not bad, they know that you're not evil, but the thing is, it's a lot of money behind paying black men to be, the face of criminality, to be the face of dysfunction in this country. It always has been, and it's some people that rather join the team than fight against it, and that's what we're seeing with a lot of the divestors and different things like that. And a lot of these women go off of emotions because of a man that they was rejected by in high school, or a man that they was rejected by in college. And a lot of it is just purebred emotion, to the point that it's created a psychosis in these women's minds. And for the women before them, who were pretty much the that created a lot of these channels, that pretty much you know put the battery in these women's backs to do that. Now you see them
Mhm.
backing down, you see them trying to separate themselves, when they was the ones that was saying exactly what these women was saying, but they were saying it
Yeah.
in a different way. They were saying it to not, maybe not as extreme, but they thought the same exact thing, and they pushed these women to do that to boost their numbers. But now that things have gotten out of control, where people can be looked at negatively, and it's a possibility people's YouTube channels can be taken away. Now everybody want to step back and try to act like they're so different, and it's really become sickening to see.
Yeah.
And me as a black man, I could never look at these women nothing more than somebody that's willing to do whatever, whether it
Mhm.
means throw me under the bus. In some cases, if they can find white supremacists to harm me, and if they could, they would. This is how sick these people are, and these people are nothing more, in my opinion, an enemy. Because when you get to that extent, no other group of men will deal with women within that
No.
caliber and accept them back in their community. It's not possible.
And the thing is that is to a great degree happening across demographics. We talked about it before, because I have come across these channels where there are white men that are kind of saying the same thing about not wanting to be with women anymore, at least not in the United States, because they are being. Remember, white guys, they are the ones that pay the most uh, when it comes to child support, alimony, breakups, divorces. They are the ones that get taken to the cleaner the most, and they are the ones that are very publicly. Many of them going like, "No, we're not dealing with these women. I'm gonna stay by myself, and I'm gonna
Yeah,
focus on myself, and I'm gonna live by myself. I'm gonna be happy. I'm not dating. A lot of them, I'm not even dating." So that is
hmm
contributing to the decline in birth rates. Is somewhat detrimental, yes, but one has to understand what is causing that. And these days, the whole thing with uh, this new wave of feminism, the third wave of feminism, because I don't have a problem with the first wave of feminism. It was about women being able to work, choices, and not being forced to be in the house all the time, and to be able to vote. That's more understandable. I don't have a problem with it. And the second wave of feminism, it was about actual equality. It was equality between the sexes. But now this third wave of feminism is about superiority, being put in a superior position, a position of supremacy.
Uh,
yes, yes,
The position of
Excuse me.
supremacy over men. Yeah.
It is not just that, but also they don't want to take accountability for their actions
No.
because I mean they want to look. They want to like go after men who have six-figure salary, six
Yeah.
feet tall, and have a six pack, and then they want to vet these men to to the nth degree.
Yeah.
But yet, if a man tries to vet any of these women, they have a major hissy fit because
Yeah.
their thinking is they should accept me as I am, but yet you're not willing to accept the average male
Yeah.
because
yeah. And
person
you know
doesn't have a
what?
six pack, doesn't have a six-figure salary, he's not 6 feet tall. And the fact of the matter is, you have a lot of women today. They're taught, you know what? They need to be bosses. They need to be, independent. They need to go to college, get an education, and not count on a man for nothing. So they want men to continue with the responsible role, but yet they don't want to assume the responsible, the acceptable role of a woman.
Yeah. They want to be modern, but they want us to be traditional.
Yeah,
Right,
which
It's very
doesn't
right,
which does
confusing.
not make
exactly.
any sense.
And the crazy thing is, like, and the funny thing about everything that you've explained, Jose, and things that you touched on, Ramon, we've seen it, with numerous YouTube videos. A lot of these women are miserable on the inside. They're
Oh, they
they're
want to. They
miserable
want to admit
because
it. That's the problem. They want to.
Mhm.
If they would admit to it, and they were willing to get some help and work on themselves, that will be one thing. But they're not gonna admit that they're miserable. They're gonna stay miserable, and they're gonna be kind of like the women that the type of woman that we have all met. That they get mad, and they get mad on their own. They get mad over some problem that they made up in their heads, and they stay mad, and they stomp around, and they slam doors. But if you ask them what the problem is, they'll tell you nothing. I mean, they're not gonna. They don't
yeah,
want to tell you. They don't want to tell you what the problem. I mean, I was
Uh,
talking. I was saying that to Morena last night before you came in, Rakim, to her live stream, and it was me and Third Ward trying to get Morena and the others and the other ladies on the panel to understand that there are women that they wanna beef, they wanna have a problem, but they won't tell the man in their life what the problem is. I mean, and they just want to beef, they want a drama, but they're not gonna come clean as to what the problem is. And we can't read minds. We have been trying to tell women for the years we cannot read their minds.
I
um,
agree 100%. I definitely agree.
guys, guys, you know what's the problem with that? Now, should I say it, or you can say it for me?
It makes too much sense.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Rakim, what you were saying about these women that are kind of like going at each other, and they're starting to split off, that proves the following: there is no sisterhood. There is no
There
such
is no sisterhood. It's no
No.
sisterhood.
because that because women by nature are very competitive with each other. That's not something that you can tell them either, because they'll get in denial. I mean, if you mention something about them competing, it is in a woman's nature to compete to a degree, because they get very cutthroat, competitive with each other. They
Yeah,
do
you
that
know
all
what's
the
funny?
time.
You know what's funny about that, Ramon? Like
Hmm.
during the whole sisterhood concept, you'll see women say, you know, because we need to uplift each other. We need to, you know, compliment each other. Because they'll try to create the narrative that they're not competitive. It's men putting them against each other.
Bullshit. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. It's the that competition that they have, because men, we compete with each other in
Yes, we
different
do.
ways. That always it's been like that forever. We compete in it. That's why there are sports. That's why there are different careers. That's why there is capitalism. It's all about the competition, about who can do it better. And when it comes to men, that's the way that we compete with each other. But there can still be some level of respect, whoever wins or loses, in a boxing match. I mean, it's always been men. Now women do it too, but they kind of have to follow the model that has been set by men for all this time, and they understand that whoever wins or loses, I mean, it's not personal. It's the sport. It's competition. Even if somebody loses, if they stand up for themselves, they can still get respect that way, even if they lose. I mean,
Yeah.
but when it comes to women, they compete with their emotions, and
Yeah,
then
because it's like what you said when I don't know if I sent you that video, so I have to send it to you. Like, you know, of course, women and they don't even realize that they are being played by the media propaganda. It was a study done that single women spend more money than anyone else. So a lot of
Mhm.
rhetoric that's being pushed out is coming from the media to, you know, pretty much keep women single. They don't care if these women are miserable and they're going against their nature to want to be with the man and everything.
yeah,
And we know what it is. And when you hear some of these women talk, you like, how do you still even want a man? What do you even want a man for? Because it sounds
yeah.
like to me you don't like men at all. You should just, you know, hop on the other side of the fence and just, do your own thing. But the video, it was a man, you know, a woman. She talked a lot of crap to this man and said, you know,
Yeah.
I'm in more shape than you. I can, you know, I can beat you down or whatever. So they got in the boxing ring, and this man was leveling this woman. I mean, leveling.
I
He
imagine.
was not backing. He was not stopping, and
Yeah,
he was not
yeah. I can,
stopping.
I, I can imagine. because
And
because that is the thing, because they think they can be just like a man, but that's only in their mind.
yes,
Physically, that's just not true. It's not true.
yeah.
It has never been true. It will never be true.
Exactly.
Of
And
course.
then it was after the fight was over, it was just what you said. He tried to, hey, good competition. He tried to shake her hand. She walked off.
Yeah, because she was mad. She was mad. Her feelings
Mad
were hurt because she
and
was all
embarrassed.
about her feelings, and then she was embarrassed and all of that. You see, that's the difference. That's the difference, because a
Uh,
man can take a loss and take a loss with dignity and keeping it classy and all of that. You can't expect that with women in that
And
type of
I'll
combat
just put it
sports.
this way.
Takes
I'll
a lot
just
of
put it
discipline.
I'll
Mhm.
just put it this way. If women can scorch the earth, like I said, with some of these ladies that we're dealing with now, a lot of this have just simply started based off of rejection, being
Yeah.
rejected by a man. Now, if women can't take rejection, I'm for damn sure women can't take a punch.
No.
So,
No,
but
no. I mean, it takes the very disciplined ones that have actually trained properly for it. I mean, the female
I
boxers,
agree.
female MMA fighters. I mean, they can do it. They can have the discipline, but who has to train them? That's usually a man. Usually, man has to train them to be able to get the discipline and understand that this is the sport, that this is competition. If they get kicked in the face, they can't get all mad about it and take it personal. No, that's the sport. That's what comes with the territory.
you know what makes me laugh when you see these women on TikTok talking about they don't need a man for this, they don't need a man for that.
I don't
I mean,
bother
they
with
have their
TikTok.
own car, they have their own home, and what have you. But lo and behold, they'll be the first one crying about the fact that there's no man to help them do, to fix the sink or to
Yeah,
fix the outlet and whatnot. And but yet these women supposedly they can do everything a man can do, but yet when the moment of truth comes, they're crying that there's not a man to help them. But yet these morons chase these men away with their stupidity.
yeah, yeah. The thing is that another difference with us men, women, we can understand, we can accept when we can't do something, because I can't do plumbing, so I don't have a problem calling somebody to to fix that for it. If it's something simple, I may be able to do it myself, but if I can't do it myself, let a professional handle it. I mean, we can't be
Right,
too proud
right.
about that. And and that whole thing, and there are certain ladies. I mean, this isn't about bashing women. I
No,
mean, if
no,
it
no,
doesn't
no. We're
apply,
just talking
if it
about the
doesn't
reality
apply,
of
let it
today.
fly. If any ladies are listening to this, if it doesn't apply, let it fly. I mean, we're not trying to put all women down, because you have to make that disclaimer. You have to make that
I know
clarification.
you. I know you have to state it like 10,000 times, and even when you state it 10,000 times, some female is going to get hurt by it.
Yeah,
And
yeah. So some female is gonna have selective hearing, and they're still not gonna hear it.
And you know what's
It's
crazy?
frustrating.
The messages, the anti-male messages today are so strong that you have women that don't agree, but they're afraid to speak up because they don't want
Oh,
to,
because they
deal with
get
the,
insulted.
the backlash, and you get called a pick
Yeah,
me, and different things like
yeah.
that. And then you can't even say, if you're at a lunch table and all of these women's, I hate men. Men are the scum of the earth. You can't say, well, I've had great men in my family, and I have a great loving husband. These women will look at you like, what are you even doing over here? Leave.
Yeah, they become
You
bullies
know?
right there on the spot. Again, no sisterhood. There is no such thing. It's a condition. The sisterhood is conditioned. As long as the all of the members of the so-called sisterhood agree with the same thing, and they are all agree with the same echo chamber, then I guess it's okay. But it's conditioned. It's conditioned. It's not gonna last.
And
Eventually,
it's
somebody's gonna think just a little bit more and go like, okay, well, I don't agree with this, and that's when it all comes crumbling down, because
hmm
that's when
hmm
the facade, that image of the sisterhood, it becomes garbage. It gets exposed.
well,
exactly.
remember, guys, last year I had a run with one of these divested chicks.
Uh-huh.
All because I made a comment regarding African American men, and it went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and then she was talking about that she was going to report me for YouTube for harassment. So you know what I did? I reported her. I beat her to the punch,
Exactly,
and
exactly,
Yeah.
then
exactly. But
and
censorship, it goes back to the whole thing about censorship. If somebody goes against their narrative.
Yeah, and even like, here's one thing that they say, especially with black men, and you can tell it's just rhetoric that they've heard, that they've perpetuated. Because even in the case of, they say, a black woman is murdered every 5.5 hours or something
I've
like
been
that.
hearing that. I've been
Yeah,
hearing that.
yeah,
But that something tells me that can be debunked. I
yep,
mean, I
yep,
haven't
and
looked into it.
it has been debunked, like what you were saying, Ramon. Because I was looking at something where the math was done, and that equates to, I believe, 1,500 and something women a year out of 21 African American women in this country. So that's a 0.3% of like.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, but Rakeem,
The, the whole thing comes crumbling down, and that's kind of like these are the same women that were against Knowles,
Mhm.
Tina Knowles, and against
And this
her
and this woman is
programming.
a somebody. This is going to be some serious
Yeah,
backlash, and that's why we see that these bigger, more popular YouTubers are now distancing themselves, because Tina Knowles has, she has pull. So, the fact that she's looking at this, people are gonna further investigate into this type of rhetoric. And what's gonna happen is she probably don't pay any attention to YouTube. She's gonna start investigating into these channels more and more, and she's gonna see that this is a real big problem. And where's this rhetoric coming from? Why do these women believe that? And so the women that pretty much was insinuating a lot of these things are motivating these women to say the things that they would say because they quote unquote have more to lose. Those women are trying to distance themselves now because they don't want to be part of the negative backlash. Because let's keep it real, this is nothing but white supremacist rhetoric talk, and it's all of any popular femininity YouTuber or level up YouTuber. They was all on the divestment train. They geared all of their videos towards the most negative things to say about black men, while just trying to say it in a more articulate manner and insinuate the most evilest things to put the battery in these women's back to create these channels where they just abruptly say it. And shout out to one YouTuber that I watched. Like he said, the difference between them and the other YouTubers is that they don't want to pretend that they don't hate black men. You all do. So they saying exactly how they feel. And now, it's gotten to the point where they can no longer really, gear these women in the direction they want them to. Is bringing too much negative attention. So now they want to step back and change the lane of, all of this rhetoric that they've been pushing for the last 2 to 3 years.
Yeah,
and it's all about power.
Yeah.
It's all about power. It's just about power. These women are afraid, no different from especially white Americans, and they are afraid. They have been brainwashed into believing what this country has pushed for so long. They are afraid to see black men in a position of power. They have really been brainwashed to think that black men are the most evil, vile, disgusting scumbags on earth. And they would do anything anything to destroy that. And that's pretty much, and it's a combination of feminism, and it's just a combination of self-hatred and wanting to be accepted by other groups that feel the same, or people in other groups that feel the same. And that's all it is. Because when you look at these women's videos, they have no logic, no reasoning in what they're saying. They're not able to debate. Even one popular big YouTuber who's faceless, she won't go and debate anybody because she know in her heart that she doesn't have any proper text or anything to go off of, or any proper stats or anything. And that's exactly what it is. It's a lot of women too who've already felt that they don't have any other chances, especially if they feel like they're up there in age. They don't really, they've already got 4 or 5 different kids by 3 different guys. So they're going to hold on to this rhetoric tight knit because it's all they have to go off of, especially if they're bitter. So, all of it has just been driven off of emotion. And I can't lie and say it hasn't caused damage. It's caused damage, especially when you look at like on YouTube. It's just the fact, kind of like, I'm mad that black men are able to do this and do this with their reputation and the way they're viewed, and I can't. And I just want to see them just as miserable. And that's pretty much what it is. And that's pretty much what it has been for quite some time.
Excuse me. I just want to say that there's currently 2 people viewing this stream as we speak, and we just want to encourage anyone who would like to enter a comment in the chat to please do so. Just make sure you make it respectable. And if anyone wishes to join the panel, the link is there. Everyone is welcome to join.
Yeah. Don't be afraid. We're gonna be here for a little longer, and then I'm gonna be preparing to wrap up. I mean, Don Jose, you said something about you having your own stream.
Yes. Okay. It will be live at 7:45 Central Standard Time.
Oh, okay. That will be my time. So it's gonna be a little bit. Okay, got you. All right. Yeah, I just
And
wanted to make sure that I wasn't holding you up or anything.
no. But the fact of the matter is, another YouTuber will have another live stream, so I already know for a fact that the
Mhm.
attendance is not going to be what it should be.
Right, right, right.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I
but
hear
what can you do?
you. Yeah, I understand. I understand.
Okay.
Hmm.
So, but but then a couple of weeks ago, I got into another um, tiff with another female YouTuber.
What is it? What are you doing with these females, San Jose?
Okay, well, unfortunately, you have some who are snowflakes.
Okay.
Okay, okay, I'm not okay. I'm not gonna go into naming this person because I don't want to give this person any 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 influence. Okay, well, I see we have Denise in the chat,
Hey,
but
Denise.
the fact of the matter is, I made a comment, and it was very respectable. And this
Mhm.
person got so upset that
Yeah.
the next time I joined at the same stream, she was telling the host not to allow me to enter.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think I know who you're talking about. I don't know what her deal is. I
You
don't
know
know
what?
what her deal is. What her problem? Nah, I have
I
no
don't
idea.
know.
she's
I don't
she's
know.
she's been catching it for she's been having a bad week.
And let me tell you something. One thing that anyone who's thinking about becoming a YouTube creator,
Uh-huh.
they need to have thick skin.
Oh yeah.
Okay?
I have come to
Because
understand that in the last few weeks. I didn't know it was that bad.
now the fact of the matter is,
Ah!
wow, Denise, if you want to join the Bachinche, by all means, join us.
yeah. Come on up. Yeah, a whole live stream had to. Well,
Oh,
I don't think it was because of her, but that was a live stream that
join me on my
involved her.
live stream at 5:45 your time.
and I will say, like, a lot of the things that I've seen her go through on the live streams, I think some of it was unwarranted, but
Mhm.
at the same thing, she said a lot of reckless things without completely understanding. So I was like, well, you're on your own when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah. I
Well,
mean,
but
I can on this one. I can't really blame the Dominicans that maybe we don't see eye to eye with. That we're having a problem with her. I mean, I can't really blame them. So yeah,
okay, but you know something, guys.
yeah.
You know me by now. I'm very mild mannered.
Hmm.
So if this person had a problem with me expressing my point of view, being mild mannered, imagine if this person was dealing with someone that spoke with no filter.
Yeah,
Okay.
I hear you. Oh shoot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
it's like it's yeah. I mean, I don't know what to say about.
Denise, if you okay, you know what? If you want me to spill the tea, you need to join the panel, or else join my live stream tonight. Denise, if you
Okay. Yeah. You're gonna be having your program later on. So.
well, I just want to let people know that tomorrow night on my platform, I
Mhm.
will be interviewing the introvert Boricua.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that interview.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah, man. Looking forward to it too. Yes, sir.
yeah. I really enjoyed these interviews because last week I interviewed my cyber daughter, and
Hmm.
we had a wonderful time.
All right. That's
Oh
good.
yeah.
So daughter, you're something else.
But yeah, like it's like right now what we're seeing, and if you notice, Ramon, like that's one thing a lot of people have said too with this whole thing with war and stuff like that. A lot of these women have been very quiet lately.
Oh,
Of
but
course, but yet they want to be equal to men,
yeah.
equal to men, unless it's time for them to actually go out there and fight.
Oh no, they're not talking about that. The social justice warriors and the third wave feminists that they're being quiet as hell because they want to do it. Now feminism. I don't think it's so much of a thing out there in the Ukraine. They are more conservative when it comes to that. They understand that men have to do the protection, and that's why. Uh, the refugees that are going to other countries, they are being mostly women, children, and maybe the very elderly. They wouldn't let them stay. I mean, and those women over there, they're not going on and on with this feminism crap. I mean, they're having understand that feminists have lost their internet. Stop. That's funny.
Oh my
That's
goodness, daughter.
Okay.
I love it when you speak without filter.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah, but they have been mad quiet, because they know that they could be thrown that example in their faces. Like, okay, you want quality, then you are gonna have to be doing what the men do, including having to fight. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're gonna have to at least become a sniper or something like that, like they did in the Second World War, because the Soviets had to do that. I mean, so many of the men were having to fight in the front lines, and what they did was they trained women to become snipers. I mean, so and they were taking risks. They were able to hide a little better, but they were taking risks too.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to. Yeah.
But yeah,
They want equality, take equality. Here it is.
exactly. They want equality when it's convenient for them, but when it's inconvenient, it's something else.
I
Yeah.
agree 100%. Definitely.
Which
I
is
agree.
what part of it what we're going to be talking about in our 2-part series regarding toxic femininity.
Yeah, because it's
Yeah.
gotten out of control. It really
Yeah.
has gotten out of control. It's just you remember, Ramon, the Gillette commercial where
I
like
hated it. I hated it.
and
Yeah, I
and
remember.
they removed that commercial because so many men made it. Like it's like no, you gonna really try to we buy your products. You gonna try to push that on us? Are you serious?
Yeah,
Like
they were gonna lose a lot of money. They were gonna lose a lot. I mean, if they kept with that shit, they don't understand that the people that they want them to change their message and what they say are people that don't buy the products.
right,
They're gonna go bankrupt in the process. I
right.
mean, they need to understand that. They need to understand what the market actually is. It took them a long time to build up a market share, and they're gonna throw it away because some feminists tell them to do it differently. Really? No,
Mhm.
no. Or to do identity politics in media and things like that. Look at what happened with the last Spider-Man movie. My understanding is that they don't do identity politics in that one, and look at how successful it's been, even in a pandemic, even in the winter. And it's been mad successful because they don't do identity politics there. And all I can say is right on, well
Right.
done.
Right.
Well, in New York, our winter has been virtually non-existent.
So,
In New York, really?
Yeah. I mean, look, we haven't had any. We had like one day when it got down to single digits. We haven't had any days when the temperature got down to 0 and what have you. And we had days when it gotten up to the 60s, which is very depressing. And
You know what's funny is that if you live in the north, or like, I mean, I've seen like it hit 35 degrees here, and
Yeah.
you step outside, like, oh man, it's not that bad today. It's not, but everywhere else outside of the north that's bad. Like 35 degrees is no, like that's wintertime. But here, since things get like -10, We don't view it as much. You'll see people just in a hoodie in 35-degree weather and 40-degree weather.
Well, I mean, come on, 35 degrees, that's basically autumn weather.
Yeah.
Oh, what? What weather?
Autumn.
Nah, nah. That's still almost freezing temperatures. I mean, on Tuesday,
Yeah, another 20.
I was having a problem because the temperatures went all the way down to like 17 degrees and all. And
Oh, you lucky stiff, you.
no, Loki, because I couldn't move around. We had this
Right.
drizzling that turned to ice, and all of the roads were iced out, and I couldn't move around. I couldn't walk around on the sidewalk on asphalt because I will be slipping all over the place and about to follow my ass. And I hate that. I hate that. I mean, it got too cold. I mean, today is a little better. Today is like in the kind of like in the 40s or 50s, something like that. But no, you can keep the cold. You can keep that polar temperatures that you love so much. I don't want it.
Well, tonight in New York is going down to an autumn like 22 degrees.
Ew, 22 degrees.
And
That's hell.
it's
Freezing
funny
my
that you say
hand.
that, Ramon. It's funny that you say that because when I went up to Minneapolis, when I first started going up there a couple of years ago, I'll never forget when I was up there one time and it was like freezing and it was like around 10 degrees to 5 degrees. And my trainer at the time told me, "Yeah, we got to get ready to get out of here because by the end of this night they're going to hit a polar vortex." And I was just like, "What the hell is that?" And it's like
Yeah.
it's going to be like -20 up here,
Oh,
negative
shit.
25.
Oh,
I
you're
was
such
like,
a lucky
"What
dog, you.
Yeah.
I was
Negative
already
22.
outside, like my eyebrows was turning into icicles. My
Oh.
I got brown eyes; they was turning blue. And
Ah.
I was just like, and I was just like, he was like, yeah, I was like, it can't get no colder than this. He was like,
No,
oh
no,
yes,
no,
it
no.
can. He was like, we by Canada, and I was just like,
Um,
yeah,
Oh.
we gotta go, man. We gotta go. Get out of here. Come on.
Guys, could you imagine if I was granted complete climate control worldwide?
Oh man, Jose, you'll be an evil villain.
Yeah, you're Mr. Freeze. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I
call you
was just
Mr. Freeze.
You're gonna be Mr. Freeze.
You're gonna be Mr. Freeze from now on. You start with the weather talk, with the winter talk. I'm gonna call you Mr. Freeze.
And,
No,
and the scariest
you know
thing,
what? I'll be a benevolent dictator. I will
Benevolent
allow
dictator. Sure.
I will allow one day the temperature to reach 81 degrees.
Only one day? No.
Yes.
No. No.
Um,
Don't do it.
the temperature would not
you
get.
playing with people's minds, Jose.
Yeah. That's traumatic. No,
I mean, it would not get any lower. It would not get any lower than 20 below, and it would not get any higher than 80 degrees.
Mhm. All right.
We're thinking of a plan to overthrow you now, Jose. That's not gonna work. But and another thing is the scariest thing that can happen to anybody who is involved in the truck driving. Because some people, like if they are from Texas and ride around through Texas a lot of the times, because they can just ride around through Texas and Louisiana and not have to go anywhere else. But when you're on that ice, and if a person is not used to that, and that trailer jackknifes, a jackknife is when your trailer goes into the opposite direction that your tractor is driving. And that's when you get the trailer turning horizontal, and that is the scariest thing that can happen because you can smack other vehicles. You can do serious damage, and it's nothing worse than looking in that side mirror, thinking everything is okay, and you see the side of your trailer in that
Oh
side.
hell no! Oh hell
That
no!
is
Oh
the
man!
worst thing, and that can happen right on, like what you were saying, Ramon, on black ice, on thin ice, because
Yeah, yeah. I kind of worry about you because you have to be driving on those roads that get iced out like that, and uh, um, I don't know how they do it because there are these truckers that are all the way out up in Alaska that
mhm.
drive in the middle of a winter storm up there. I don't know how they do it. I
Yeah,
mean,
and they
that's
put
crazy.
those chains on those wheels and stuff like that, and I
Yeah,
was like, that's. I mean, I
that's
guess
hardcore.
the money people risk their lives to, bring in that big money, especially when you're talking about working in the physical realm. Things can
Yeah.
be, things can be dangerous. Like I was saying, on Morena stream yesterday, I was kind of pissed because they sent me out of my way. I was supposed to go back to Joliet from South Bend, which is Joliet is a city outside of Chicago, about an hour away, and they sent me past Joliet to Rockford,
Yeah.
and I had to go, and I only been to Rockford once, I think, and it was not in a semi, and I had no idea, like I had to go through. I end up having to get on the Chicago Skyway, and right then and there, I knew I was in the city. It was a Saturday morning, and I'm half asleep because I'm thinking, I can just, I'm just gonna make this run and then give myself some rest. And once I
Yeah.
start seeing it, I was getting closer into the city, and I was
Hmm.
like, I'm looking on the highway. One side of the street is Indiana, the other is Chicago. And then I'm
Hmm.
looking, I'm like, oh wait, I'm on 108th Street in the city, and then I go right past the tolls, and I'm like, oh my God, they sending me through here. And as
Oh,
soon as I saw that skyline in the distance, I was like, I'm about to have a terrible time. And 10 minutes later, I was bumper to bumper in traffic with people speeding, trying to get past the truck and everything like that. And I'm trying to be as alert as I possibly can. And I'm just like, oh, I pray that I don't get into no accident. Please, Lord, don't get me into no accident. And
hmm,
we've
hmm.
heard that term. You have to drive for yourself and drive for other people. I was looking down at those other people that they were like, you guys gonna have to drive for me today. You guys gonna have to drive for me today.
Yeah.
So I was able to get through that and get to Rockford. But yeah, that was terrible. And then the course is still freezing here, so the winter is no joke, especially when it comes to like trying to do those types of jobs and everything like that.
Yeah, Chicago does get a little chilly in the wintertime.
I can only imagine. I haven't been up there. If I would like to visit Chicago eventually, but it's gonna have to be in the summer. Sorry.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. You'll love it, Ramon. It's a great city, great food.
Yes.
Definitely, definitely. So yep, yeah, it was like the wintertime, trying to drive or trying to perform, different jobs and everything. It is no joke. It is no joke
Hmm.
because even that time that I was in Minneapolis in the beginning of my trucking career, a lot of things can happen. Like as far as you're trying to attach to a trailer and it's not hooking up because of the cold, and
Yeah.
you know the the uh the landing gears, they're not retracting when that's the thing on the side, that you have to crank up those landing gears to be able to drive the trail off, and those are not working because it's too
Right.
cold.
Uh
It's
huh.
too
Uh huh.
cold, and like the truck can break down because it's too cold, and it's a lot that can happen. And then the snow and different things like that. So I've had a few scares. I've had a couple of scares where my GPS went out and I had to use my damn phone, and it sent me down a residential block, and I'm just like, oh God, please, I hope there's no police around.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, one time I even hit somebody's mailbox. So like,
Oh.
and I
Oh.
didn't
Oh
know. I
boy.
heard it in the back, like
I.
don't.
You should
I'm
have
like,
said that.
I was like, what the hell was that? And I looked in the distance and seen. I was like, oh,
Oh,
hopefully
sure.
they ain't got a camera. Like,
Yeah. Gotcha. Right. 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 Oh
well,
man. Oh man.
all in the middle of winter time too, man.
All right. Wow, wow. I can only imagine. Just be careful. Be careful with that weather. I mean, I feel for you. I mean, I know that you're good at what you do and you like what you do, but there is that risk at this time of the year. So, like, careful out there, man. Don't want to see you getting into no accident.
Thanks a
Uh,
lot, Ramon. Really
yeah.
appreciate it. I'm definitely stay as alert as I possibly can be.
Yes.
You deal with
Yeah.
some reckless drivers out there, man. You deal with some
Of
real
course.
reckless drivers. I've been cut off numerous times.
Which is stupid. You don't cut off a truck. What the
Oh
hell?
yeah, yeah.
Somebody was driving a little old car trying to cut off a truck. What the hell? Come
People
on now.
rushing.
Some people don't think.
No, no, they don't. Wow. Wow.
I can just imagine Clara experiencing her first winter in New York.
I don't think she'll really like it. She's a
No.
tropical lady. She
Nope.
comes from a tropical island.
No,
I don't think that.
She's gonna hate
I don't
it. She's gonna hate that shit.
Yeah, I think she'll learn. No, she'll learn how to love it.
All right. All right. That's fine.
Before you become that evil villain that turns the whole country into freezing winter, Jose, Claire's going to be like, he seemed so loving in the beginning, but as time went on, he changed. He started becoming more and more obsessed with turning the whole world cold.
But it's funny because I spoken with her. It's like, are you sure you want to live in New York? Because it's not like over there in the DR when it's like eternally somber all the time.
Yeah, well, you got to remember too, being with her in the DR, same thing with people on the island and PR. It's like they got a lot of relatives in the East Coast and different things like that, and then it's the things that you hear when you're on the island. Like you think New York, the big city of dreams, the buildings and everything, the hustle and bustle of the city. And some people are curious about that. They want to come and see what it's like. But the funny thing is that people that have people on the island, they got family on the island and everything that's in the big cities, they're trying to go back to the island. And you have some young people, I'm sure, that want to come here just to experience what it's like being in the big cities, especially when you watch TV shows or movies and different things like that.
Hello, daughter.
Hey, shout out to my sister niece.
Hello, guys. What's up?
Okay, so you really want me to spill the tea?
Yeah, we need to know that tea. You better say it. Just came to support Ramon a little bit. I think yours is the only channel I've never been on the panel.
Right. This is a first.
Discrimination.
Ramon. Right.
Ramon, be careful because she might want to send you to the old folks' home too.
Oh no, Ramon is in the game.
Yeah.
You can put in the back, Jose, who you're talking about in the back chat.
Okay. Well, what I'll do is I'll just put it in the private chat. Who I had the hey Radical.
What's going on, Radical?
Yo, what up? What's going on, people?
What's up, Rad?
Radical, you know what I'm saying? AKA numbers. No, let me start.
What's been up, Rad? How you been?
I'm chilling. I just got off of an interview with a witch.
What?
Interview a witch. So that's gonna come out in 2 weeks.
Is she a Wiccan?
I don't know. I'm not a woman. I don't know. Yeah, that's
not a woman. That's
a woman thing. That's a woman thing. Okay, look how fast she was. Was that a Wiccan? Like, come on, I don't know nothing about that.
A Wiccan, basically. Oh my God!
Okay, from the expert. Go ahead. What's a Wiccan?
No expert, but I mean, I've seen this and read about this. Wiccans are like people that believe in the concept of magic and abandon like conventional religion and go after that. And there's good Wiccans and bad Wiccans. You even have celebrities into this. What are you talking about? This has been around for a while.
I didn't know nothing about it. All I know is I found her extremely interesting. So I interviewed her. She came in with that same energy, and so we did something really interesting too, because she does a tarot card thing. So I said, okay, let's do the tarot cards for Ukraine. So we did the tarot cards for Ukraine and stuff like that, and also for World War III, just to make sure, just to see what the predictions are. You know what I mean?
And what she said.
You'll see it in 2 weeks.
Oh my God!
Really?
Oh, 2 weeks? Why 2 weeks? Why
I'm
so
not
long?
even gonna be here. We might be
Because that's
war.
what the episode is going to come out. Don't worry about it. Listen, I'll give y'all a little sneak peek. Don't worry about it.
Dang,
Move
Rad,
your-
2
move
weeks.
your-
That's like
yeah,
a Dragon Ball Z episode.
Yes. Look, move your lazy ass. Edit the episode. Post it tomorrow.
No, get out of here. I'm not posting nothing. Get out of here. Hold on. I'll be right back, guys.
Okay.
All right.
So how you doing, Denise?
Staying busy. Let's just keep it at that.
No, I hear you. I hear you. But I hear you. But let's keep it like that as well. So
I'm sorry, I'm eating and talking to you guys, but at the same time, I wanted to contribute that the feminists are on their way, Ramon. I don't know what you're saying. They lost their internet connection. You gotta understand that. Okay, but they're on their way there with their tongues. Yeah. They're gonna be naked, painted to fight the war, and the tongues are gonna shade.
They're gonna be the really ugly ones. They're gonna be topless, and they're gonna have like vagina helmets. Oh, looking real.
You know what? That could be considered torture by the Geneva Convention.
Yeah, isn't this an exposure? I mean,
no, that's gonna solve the war. They're gonna get naked to balance the world.
Yeah,
sure. That's gonna solve all the problems. Like I posted the other day a tweet of a girl that's like been posting like a lot of feminist stuff in the last year or two. And then she said, I'm all for women's rights and stuff, but I'm just letting you know if World War III starts, I belong in the kitchen.
Yeah, that's very convenient. That's the mentality.
No surprise.
Yeah. And I'm like, this is the same thing.
Learning how to cook chicken and mashed potatoes don't sound so bad after that.
No.
Facts. You know how many trans people are gonna come out of this whole thing?
That doesn't mean anything because the isn't the chief on command aside from the president like transsexual too?
What you mean?
We have don't we have not the president, like our oh my god, I forgot his name. Isn't he from the LGBT community?
Who you mean?
Putin?
No, not Putin. I'm talking about that's not gonna happen in Russia and Ukraine.
Not anytime soon.
No, that's just a Western issue.
Putin's going to have his.
Who you're saying that is part of that community, the alphabet community?
Our
no,
not Joe Biden, but the one that's behind, like underneath him in the military.
Okay, that's the second in command.
Oh, okay.
I mean, at least that's what I've been reading about. It could be trolling, but I mean,
don't know anything about it. I mean, I have no idea.
But do you guys think this is gonna go to war? I don't think so.
Well, there is that conflict going on, but is it?
Well, what my psychic told me, what my bruja told me is, wait for 2 weeks. She'll let you know.
Oh my god!
No, it's not gonna be World War III. I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either.
I'm gonna say something. The last time a president told us that we were not going to go to war, we ended up.
What is already happening?
But what I'm saying, like a massive war that can involve the whole world.
Uh-huh.
We went to war, and we'll try to avoid it at all costs.
My sister Denise, we've always been at war in these streets with these crackers. You heard? No,
Oh,
let me
stop.
Let me stop.
Right.
But you know, like when Denise, who said Putin? Who said Putin about the transgender thing?
Me.
Oh
listen.
no, yeah, man. If Putin to make up his own gender, he won't be male or female. You just like, if I can create a gender, it's just gangster. Because I'm just a gangster.
Yeah.
Because Putin is like
Facts.
the way
President for life. That's his gender.
Yeah, man. The way Putin just marched in there. And then that was a direct shot at the United States to say, if you try to oppose what I'm doing, you will feel you
Something
will
you've
feel
never seen in your history.
I was like, damn.
Yeah, that was
That's
his.
like-
No lie. Putin, no lie. Putin literally just threatened us like a baby mom. Like that ass.
No, I think, look, this is the problem. Putin has been criminalized by America for a long time. In my opinion, in my personal opinion. But you cannot say, as a nation, like, it's like I have explained to other people. What would you say if the president of the United States, let's say that, for example, Russia starts sending nuclear power weapons and tanks and armory and ammo to the border of Mexico for years, and brings on their allies to actually keep funding Mexico and the border with the United States to be militarized. Do you think the military should intervene at the border of our nation if that were to happen? Can we really blame because that's the problem with people. People keep going at this whole thing like, oh my God, I'm stand with Ukraine. So you stand with Nazis? Because that's Azov. Azov battalion are neo-Nazis.
Not for nothing. Also, not for nothing. Did y'all see what the president of the Dominican Republic said? Yo, everybody is saying, yo, calm down. We don't even got planes to fly over there. All right, chill out, chill out with all this.
Oh my God!
But that is true because everybody's like, oh, why are you involving us in this like type of beef? Like, hey, yo, our planes haven't flown for years, so yo, chill out, chill out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I understand that the Dominican Republic did have like an air force, but those planes are vintage planes. I mean, they're not going anywhere.
Those planes came from World War I.
Oh, yeah.
The last time, I'm gonna tell you something right now. The last time them planes were up in the sky was in the middle of the Gulf War. That was the only time. After that, it was too much to maintain.
Yeah.
So they leave it in museums. That's all they have, and they have hand-me-down planes. They literally have 4 hand-me-down planes that could barely run. To be honest, this is what a military person said on TikTok.
Radical. You gotta start from something, bro.
You're right.
You gotta start from something.
You're right.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No, I mean, like, okay, they have a military, but they need to update their equipment if they're gonna be serious about it.
If they're gonna be talking, listen. If they're gonna be talking a lot, like, at least you gotta have something to back up that talk. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. At the end of the day, I don't know if we're really gonna go to war. You know what I'm saying? I don't think we should. It's gonna be dumb. Hopefully, it just stops in Ukraine. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's gonna be something feasible. I don't believe what Putin or Putin. I don't believe what Putin says. Because he said that Ukraine was threatening them or whatever the case is, which is not the case whatsoever. And Putin even said that there's Nazis in Ukraine, and that's what they're trying to. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to stop the Nazis. I'm like, hey, yo, listen. All I'm saying is, Russia is a huge component for misinformation. Okay,
Mhm.
they're
But
the
that's not
masters.
where you get your information.
Exactly.
You just
but
have to
they're-
look. You just have to look. I think I included that on the video that I did on that war. But if you even look at Canadian papers, at the New York Times, they have been commenting about this since last November. The whole situation in Canada started when Trudeau started funding Azov Battalion. Look it up. I'm not gonna try to get Ramon's channel flag, but like when he started funding this stuff and getting in bed with neo-Nazis, that's
Yeah.
when we know what stuff was up.
Uh-oh.
I don't think for a
Denise
second.
is turning all QAnon on us. Uh-oh.
No, this is not QAnon. This is not QAnon. Look it up. That's literally, look up the New York Times, the Guardian talk about this. This is not a Denise thing. This is
And then
the
she's gonna be
news
like,
thing.
and then look up how Hillary Clinton still looked the same in 1994, and she still
No.
looks the same now because she's a reptilian,
No,
guys.
but
Right, that's what I was
people-
gonna say. I mean,
But
even that
people have been praising here because and that's when you can tell the extent of corporate media, that you have all of these people cheering for Ukraine. I don't cheer for Ukraine.
I'm not
I feel very bad for the people of Ukraine.
Yes.
But first of all, I don't feel bad neither for their military, for their fucking Nazis that are right now committing crimes and racism against the African population in Ukraine in real time. I don't feel bad for them.
Yeah, the students that are trying to leave and
Yeah,
they're
to
not letting
leave.
them in the trains that are going out of the place.
They are assaulting
So,
them physically.
Isn't there like two huge Nazi militia groups in Ukraine?
no, there
Absolutely.
are neo Nazis. It's kind of like in two territories that recently being recognized as free states. One is Donbass, the other I forget the name.
Is
But
it
those are-
Crimea?
No, not the Crimea. The Crimea, that was the thing that happened in 2014.
2014.
Okay.
They got annexed to Russia. That was part of the Ukraine because in 2014 the president at the time of the Ukraine was forced out, and they didn't have a president for a time. And that's when the military, the Russian military, asked the Crimeans what they wanted to do, if they wanted to do a referendum, so they
And
could.
they wanted,
be
and they are Russian people. Like if you look at the population of Crimea and even Donbass,
Many of them,
these
yeah,
are Russian people.
many of them
They want to be
are
their own
speaking.
sovereign country.
Yeah. Many of them already speak
You know?
Russian, and they are ethnic Russians, and many of them, from what we understand, they had a referendum. It was like 90% in favor of annexing Crimea to Russia, and the West didn't like that. And
Yeah, and what
maybe
they
that has
proceeded
something
to do is betray Russia once again, because we don't like Russians, even though they were allies in the World War II after what happened with them and Hitler.
Yeah, even though they were communists already, it was already the Soviet Union, and they still.
And that's that at the beginning they said, hey, yeah, we're gonna help you, Hitler. But then when they started realizing what Hitler was doing, they flipped the switch and allied with America and the UK. 27 million Russians died fighting the Nazis.
Yeah, they took the worst. They took the brunt
So
of the
they
whole-
took the worst burn, but then we decided we hate them. And then we have been hating them since. And they literally just are handling their own business. And over there goes America sticking their nose where it doesn't belong. And even though in 1994 we said we're not going to expand NATO, and that was part of the freaking agreement with the Soviet Union. That was the agreement. And what we did, we have done it 29 times. And then now we're asking, oh, Putin is so bad. We broke the agreement 30 fucking times.
Yeah.
Denise, this is going to sound like a dumb question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Why did we break the agreement so many times?
Because we kept expanding NATO to exceed our domination in Europe. That's it.
That's why Putin.
Yeah, the thing is that
Okay.
NATO was an answer to the Soviet Union, but when the Soviet Union comes down in 1989, I think it was, there wasn't really a reason for NATO to be in existence to begin with. But no, they have kept it up, and they have been expanding it. And there was that whole thing. Part of what happened in 2014 in the Ukraine was that there were some Ukrainians that did wanted Ukraine to be part of NATO, and there was a process, some paperwork that the president had to sign, and at the last minute, the president said no, he didn't want it to sign whatever
Really?
agreement. Yeah. The
wow.
president didn't want it to sign, and that. There were a small group of people that first protested, but apparently, I don't know what happened. Apparently, there were many protesters that ended up getting shot by the
Oh wow.
by the government. It's something that the investigation hasn't concluded in that. Let's understand this. Let's understand that the Ukraine is not a democracy. They keep talking about this whole thing that Russia is bad because there has to be a measure of democracy being restored in the Ukraine. Ukraine is not a democracy. The political system is very similar to the Russians. I mean, so they're not really a democracy. That's why they're doing.
They're still authoritarian.
They can gun down protesters in kind of like the main city, Independence Square. I think it is. That's what started all of this.
Not only that, Ramon, let's not forget that they have been at war since 2015 when this whole combat started. It escalated when Canada and the United States intervened.
Yeah.
And started propping up the freaking border and started propping up their military and funding it and sending weaponry and stuff. I'm like, why do you even like I am so sorry, but if you're a hypocrite that's not saying I stand with Ukraine, you should have stood up with the Canadians that did not wanted their taxpayer dollars to go to Ukraine to militarize Ukraine.
Oh wait. Canada sent their military to help them out?
No. They send money. Justin Trudeau sent money. I made a video on it. You can take the clips if you want
he
to.
sent aid. He sent aid, but he didn't send troops. Yeah.
Not only that, he's accusing. In the meantime, he's accusing Jewish members that are direct descendants of the Holocaust, of being neo-Nazis. Just because
he's
one
really
person
catching hell for that. He's really catching hell for criticizing.
And you know what's the problem?
Yeah.
He's the one that's associated with neo-Nazis. He's in pictures with one of the neo-Nazis freaking
Well, hold on. Let's relax when we're calling people Nazis. Let's relax on who's chilling with who, okay? Let's relax with that, all right?
No, there are pictures of him in blackface, looking like Prince Ali, dark-skinned Prince Ali.
But my point is, I got to get a little bit more informed on this because I don't know what the hell is going on. But let me let y'all go. I gotta do some editing. But I'm gonna catch you later.
Just tell us what she said.
Well, about what? Oh no, I'm gonna put out a small clip. I'm gonna put out a small clip.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Put out a trailer at least. So
that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put out a small clip.
But at least let us know. Is there gonna be a third, like a World War III?
Okay. Well, she said maybe. Anyway, so
my God.
all right. I'm gonna catch you later. Thank you for having me in here. Peace.
Thank you for coming on. Appreciate it.
Peace. Bye.
All right.
But this one question I would like to ask. Since the European Union has been formed, why is there a need for NATO?
Well, there isn't. There is a real need for NATO, but they keep maintaining it, and the Western countries keep expanding it. I mean, and
the need for NATO, in my opinion, I think it comes down to opinion. But continue, Ramon. I'm sorry to cut you off. Continue.
No, I mean it's just that they keep expanding it, and they were trying to expand it to the Ukraine. They were trying to persuade apparently the leadership in Ukraine to join NATO, and Putin didn't want that because that will bring NATO closer more fully to the borders of Russia, and that's one of the one of the things that's happening with it. But has been happening. That has been one of the main issues that has been happening in that area for the last 8 years. That's not something new. That's something that's been it's been a problem for this. This is not something that just started. A conflict that just started. This is something that has been stewing, that has been cooking up. So go ahead, Denise. What were you saying?
The whole NATO expansion, I think at this point, like, because in this country, nothing that is said to us is truthful.
Mhm.
So you have to kind of guess where people's intentions are. But I'm pretty sure it's all about power. You know, if it all like it, because it doesn't matter how you slice it. Like eventually, it comes down to like it's all about power. Like flexing my power, like
Yeah.
right there next to Putin,
Yeah.
one of the biggest nuclear powers and potencies of the world. Because a lot of people will tell you that America is the number one country in the world. That is not true.
Yeah.
I
No,
posted a
there are-
video the other day that the only
Yeah.
things that we are number one in the world is mass incarceration and adults that believe in angels.
Ah,
That's it.
yeah, there are over 2 million people, over 2 million incarcerated people here in the United States,
Mhm.
and they believe in angels if they knew. I mean, they have a basic understanding, maybe because of Christianity, but if they actually read, the Bible, they will understand that the angels don't look like what we see in the movies. I mean,
But
but that's another
those
subject.
are those are the only things we're number one in the world. We're even, I think, 27 in math.
Ah.
We're far behind in
No,
many.
the education system, it could be revamped. It could be improved. Unfortunately, Denise, you and I and Jose, we Puerto Ricans and the island of Puerto Ricans, there are too many of our people on the island that still believe that the solution for the education system in Puerto Rico is to do the same thing as the United States, like
Charter
faithful
schools.
face palm, not understanding that we're already doing it and it's not working.
But but you know what's insanity? Insanity is keep doing the same thing all the time and
Yeah.
expecting a different result.
Mira,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
gonna
what-
say something. I love my people. I love my island, but because we revolted. Like, I mean, I can't really blame the state of our people because I don't think there's a country in any part of this earth that if military troops start being deployed, they're not going to fight, and take up arms and try to fight them off. And that's what, unfortunately, all the smart people in Puerto Rico, all the intellectuals, and I'm talking about like the top of the top, highly educated folk were assassinated or imprisoned or banned from ever being back in Puerto Rico. So what that left, it's a group of people that, even though they had the capacity to be very smart and well educated, were confused and scared. And they taught us, all of us, how to be confused and scared. There's a very select group of people that in Puerto Rico has woken up from that by reading a lot, by researching things, by looking at America as an empire, which it is, and understand things how they are and are more centered and more moderate in their ideologies. But that's not the majority. The majority are still that little kid that's scared,
Yeah.
confused, and fatherless. And
Yeah.
that is just the state we are at right now. So to ask us to, like, as a whole, to make the best decision that will be in the best interest of the people of Puerto Rico, that's almost impossible right now. Which is why we
Yeah.
keep voting
It's
for
just that-
statehood.
Yeah, it's 500 years of colonization. It can definitely leave us thinking that we can't do for ourselves. It's unfortunate. It's like we need to have somebody minding us all the time. That's why we cannot have the discipline on the island to actually do proper self-governing. That's why we always have it. We're always having to count on the FBI to solve shit for us, Papi Gringo. Always having to
Que
count on
vengan,
Papi Gringo.
they come with the Yankee chancla, Ramon, with the Yankee chancla.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. But unfortunately, 500 years of colonizations got us thinking that we cannot do anything for ourselves. So I don't
Not
know how
only
long
that,
it
the
will take for
morale,
us to. Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
morale of the
The-
island, and the fascination with being ruled by the worst criminals. We have,
Yeah.
it's something that Residente said many years ago, and he keeps saying it till this day, and I believe it, is that we suffer from Stockholm syndrome. We do. We love being
Oh, yeah.
conquered for some odd reason. And I get it. We have fought
Yeah.
many empires in so many different ways. And it had cost so many Puerto Rican lives that at this point people are like disheartened. You know, we tried, people think that Pedro Albizu Campos went from being a kid to being a terrorist, and that's not what happened. And they're evaluating the process, the end, but not the process. He tried to went to NATO with a paper. He tried to educate the people, rejected. He tried to acquire a proper education and then got rejected. He still tried to create a political party and fight these people, still got rejected. He tried to sue, was rejected. He tried to find other people to team up with, rejected. There was a Puerto Rican army that was established, rejected. There was a peaceful protest that ended up in a massacre, many, all rejected.
Yeah,
And when
the
all those
Ponce,
things
the Ponce
happen,
massacre.
yeah, and when all those things happen, and all the people that you know that they love their country so much that they're laying their lives for it, keep dying around you, what do you have left? You, a prominent former military soldier that went to Harvard and graduated with honors, what do you have left to do? Take up arms. Everybody, any reasonable man or woman will do this. You know, and
Yeah,
that's
it becomes that's a last resort measures, and it might seem like that extremist, but everything else have been tried and it didn't work, and it was rejected, and it was invalidated and deemed null and void. So one can end up resorting into something more extreme. I mean, and maybe that way they can get the attention to the situation that it deserves. I mean,
yeah,
even
and
if it means
it's
having to sacrifice
even
them.
look, it's even the situation with the that we have with the Hispano tips
Yeah.
can also be understood in this situation, because look, name me one, just one. I'm not asking for 5, 4, 3, or even 2. One incident where a country that was of white people was attacked with any medical warfare. None. Zero. But
No,
then name me brown or black countries. All of them. All of them. I just came from listening to this Islamic dude that was explaining how there was a study that this was published, leaked, exposed, if you might say, where they were performing when the U.S. government was looking for Osama bin Laden. They masked quote unquote hepatitis B vaccine, but in reality, what they were doing was collecting DNA from Middle Eastern people in Iraq, just to find someone that had Osama's DNA so that they could torture them to death and get information on his location.
Yeah.
They would have never done that in Australia. They would have never done that in New Zealand. They would have never done that in the UK. They only do it to certain groups, lying to people and putting stuff in their bodies and doing all this massacre in Yemen, in Syria, and all this stuff in Venezuela, Nicaragua, Puerto Rico, Cuba. All this stuff that happens in you talk to these people, and they're still reminiscing that I cannot stand on my own. I only can stand with Spain because we're so scared. And that's
Yeah.
something that they will never accept. The reason why you see all these people, and I'm sorry for, I'm going to say something very graphic, sucking Spain's dick, is because
Yeah.
we're genuinely shitting in our pants when it comes to face this massive monster that rules over the West, that's so near to us, it's so close to us,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
No,
That's
and the
that's
thing,
the core of it.
and the thing is that I don't know what is it with the with this loyalty with Spain, when Spain is not really isn't really doing anything for us over here. I mean, if it is true, like that video that the Radical put up, if it's really that common as it seems, apparently it is a problem. The discrimination the Hispanics face over in Spain, how they're treated as if they are inferior, and maybe so, we shouldn't insist on being where we're not wanted. Kind of like what's happening with the Africans in the Ukraine, how they're being treated,
Mhm.
and they went there to get an education, but they're trying to lead the country, and they're being pushed out of the train so that Ukrainians can get in them. And the same thing with Hispanos in Spain. Maybe Hispanos shouldn't be in Spain like that. I mean,
It,
of
it
course,
it
of
all
course.
comes from how can I say it?
Mhm.
Insecurity
Yeah.
and fear.
Well.
And both of those things, I think everything comes down to fear. Even when we're depressed, when we are sad, when we are, it all comes from fear.
Yeah.
Fear of the unknown. Fear if I can stand my own ground, if we might survive this, if we can fight these people, if we can actually make something work. That it's all fear, because if you look at our ancestry, our people, yes, they were in retrograde when it came to civilization
Mhm.
and modernization, I would say, because they had their civilizations,
Yeah.
but they were not modern.
No, no.
Um,
They were
yeah,
living in communion with the land, and they were not
yeah, they
they
were
were not
very
industrial.
eco-friendly. They were
Yeah, they were eco-friendly. They
eco-friendly,
were not industrial. When you industrialize, that's when you have to raid the land and the
of
resources
course.
and contaminate everything you find. I mean, yeah,
Absolutely, they
they're
were
not living
they
in balance.
were they were urbanized by force, and when that happens, you saw 75 million indigenous people with no communication with one another,
Mhm.
uh, having the same reaction just for their land, their culture, and their people.
Mhm.
And what happened is that many succeeded, at a great cost.
Yeah.
Only 3 million survived, and they were not scared. They were genuinely not scared. That should tell you just how free indigenous people actually were, that they rather were dead. I'd rather be dead than let these people colonize me.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
so we are not even that close to that, to actual freedom.
Yeah.
So once this happens, you have one of the biggest lies that America has told us is that we are third world countries, that we are at the bottom, that we are, basically at the very bottom of everything. If you think about it, the United States did not win over Spain overnight. The reason why they won over Spain is because Spain was already depleted by their fight with Mexico.
Yeah.
Mexico crippled Spain. And the fact that we have today many Mexicans walking with their heads down without the pride of their ancestry, not knowing, hey, they were willing to sacrifice everything, even burning down Mexico, in order to just let Spaniards not have them. And basically now you have this third wave of Latinos trying to claim the very same people their ancestors fought so hard and gave up their lives to
Yeah,
keep out.
that's treason. That's treason
It
to the
is
memory
treason.
to the
Hmm.
memory of their ancestors. That's what I keep saying. I mean, it's treasonous. Treasonous when even some of our fellow Puerto Ricans that are from the diaspora that put up the Spain flag because that's what their allegiance is. They don't put up the Puerto Rican flag. They claim to be Puerto Rican, but they put in their avatars the Spain flag because that's what they are aligned to. That's what they claim to be loyal to, and they call España es la madre patria. They call it like that, but they claim to be Puerto Ricans. Okay, which one is it? It has to be one of the two. And if they claim that España is their madre patria, then they need to go over there. They need to move over there, see how it goes for them, see how they're treated.
It's not gonna work out. It's not gonna work out.
And leave us the rest of us over here who take pride in being Puerto Rican, leave us alone. I mean,
that's what I said. I'm like, when I see Puerto Rican Hispano taps, I laugh because I know for a fact that a few years ago, I think it was 2017, there was a meeting of the reunification with Spain.
Yeah.
And there were only 17 people showed up.
Total. It's like when the King of Spain came to the island recently.
There's only 5 left. There
were only 5 people waving the flag, waving the Spanish flag. 5 people total.
So the other 12 gave up or woke up or died or moved out here. I don't know, but there's only 5 people in Puerto Rico that believe we should reunify.
Wow, I remember those pictures that they were looking so stupid.
Yeah, the rest of Puerto Rico was throwing down the Juan Ponce de Leon statue and protesting the King of Spain coming to Puerto Rico.
Excuse me, guys. I don't mean to interrupt. It seems like some of these people are suffering from what's called Munchausen syndrome.
Munchausen?
Yes.
Munchausen syndrome?
Munchausen?
Yeah.
Hey, fulana. No me di cuenta que fulana la cubana estaba aquí.
Yeah.
Morena, what's up, Morena?
Okay, if I can just read to you what some of the symptoms, it will help explain why I reached that conclusion. Dramatic but inconsistent medical history, problems with identity and self-esteem.
Yeah,
that's why I say that they're suffering from Munchausen syndrome.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That pretty much defines it. Yeah.
Jose always brings the more elevated facts.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, unfortunately, you have certain people who intellectually are performing fellatio on Spain.
To put it nice, poniéndolo fino.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's something. It's worth a shot to actually try to analyze. But you know what? Like, it's something that I think when I interview Tim Delgado, my therapist, he explained that even in the Mexican dialect, like their Spanish dialect, the concept of servitude, it's ingrained in our language. Because when you ask them, like, for example, if you were to say, hey, Ramon, and if you're Mexican, you will say mande, which is tell me what to do.
Yeah. The Mexicans, Hondurans, I don't know who I think Guatemalans, certain Central Americans. It's not only the Mexicans that I have heard them say, if I were to call them by name, they respond with mande. It's not only Mexican. I know Hondurans do it. In other Central Americans do that. Yeah.
It's something that and it even in the rest of us, we have taken. I think the only thing that made us in the Caribbean, at least that I know, made us a little bit more rebellious is that we have one of the highest population. Like, if you put us 3 together, we have the highest population of Africans, free Africans that populated our islands. And that's what you hear, like, in our Spanish, when, you know, the joke that we say in Puerto Rico, Ramon, diga usted y mande a otro.
Oh, yeah.
Our attitude is a little bit more like, no. I
Yeah,
won't
there is a
do
little bit
that.
more rebellion there. Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember that.
a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit.
Yeah.
But overall, Latin America has a very particular case. I just wish, like, for example, right now, I love studying Russia. That's why I said, like, right off the bat when this whole situation happened, I am so
Mhm.
sorry, but I agree with Putin on this matter, not anything else. Don't put words in my mouth or take it out of context. But in
Yeah.
this situation, I agree with what he is doing. I just feel very, very sad for the human life and the families in Ukraine that have no control over their politics and are forced to leave their country and are suffering all this death that it's not even their fault. That's the
No,
only thing that makes me sad. But the rest of it, I'm
yeah.
sorry, Putin is
No,
right. But go ahead, Ramon.
no, it's just that it's a complicated situation that extends not just the last 8 years, but hundreds of years. And because it extends several hundred years. When Kiev was first established, Russia didn't exist yet, but it was called Kiev of Rus. And from Kiev of Rus, that's when Moscow, one of the monarchs that they had hundreds of years ago, established Moscow, and from Moscow it was created the rest of Russia. But that was a long time ago, and they have been disputing some of those territories for a long time. And Putin claiming that Ukraine is really is supposed to be part of Russia, and supposedly the Ukrainians and the Russians are supposed to be one and the same. You have to look into the history of it that goes back centuries, and
Yeah,
he's not entirely wrong.
and
So
to be, but if
understand the
even if you look,
complexity of it. Mhm.
it's something that I was telling MK the other day when he was like, "Oh, look, Joe Biden imposed sanctions on it." We were discussing this and laughing because we were like,
Yeah,
"Look, Russians are the number one country that sanctions do not work with them. These people have starved in many times in their history.
yeah,
China and many other countries have claimed Russia their own. And these are the only resilient groups of ancient Europe that have regrouped and reclaimed their country several times.
yeah.
Okay. So it's an example of resilience. So imposing sanctions on people that are have experience living with literally nothing,
They have
it's
already been hit with sanctions on top of
they
sanctions on
don't
top of
yeah, they
sanctions,
don't
and
care. And what can
like we have.
happen,
Uh-huh.
this is the problem that I think it's a little bit, it scares me a little bit. Look, if Russia gets imposed with severe sanctions and no
Mhm.
peace is it doesn't come to any peace, in my opinion. Of course, I could be wrong because I'm not an expert. I'm just guessing here based on what I know.
Yeah.
But if Russia doesn't come to an agreement and NATO keeps putting, more people in adjacent countries and soldiers and building up their military, what's going to happen, because in Europe the number one gas supplier is Russia, what's
Yeah.
going to happen is that they're going to close that pipeline from Russia to
I think it's
Western
called the
Europe.
I think it's called the Nord Stream.
Yeah,
Nord Stream, the one, and they built the second Nord Stream pipeline, but they were not able to activate it because the United States didn't want it to, and that would have brought most of the energy that Germany needs. They're already supplying over 40% of it
but this
with the
is
Nord
my
Stream
thing.
pipeline.
We already, the US already closed the doors and made an enemy out of Venezuela. Venezuela has more oil than Saudi Arabia. They have us with the oil.
Mhm.
Okay, the oil, the steel, the aluminum, the wood, medical supplies, electronics, and a lot of stuff that we outsource from Russia. Imposing sanctions right now, it's not intelligent at all.
Yeah.
So what will happen, like the domino effect, is that if we continue to do this, there's no peace agreement between these two nations. What's going to happen is that we're not going to have access, especially the UK is not going to have access to that gas. then there's going to be food shortages. And what that's going to create is civil unrest. And when that happens, the government most likely will impose more rigorous, you know, policies and rules upon the public. And some people might compromise their freedoms as, as an exchange of a little bit of sense of security. And if people don't wake up, it can turn one or two ways. Either there's going to be a lot of unrest, a lot of crime, and a lot of poverty that's coming our way, or people are going to compromise their freedoms for a false sense of security and allow the state to dictate a lot of things that today are considered freedoms, things that we can decide, and the government will decide those things for us. It's one of these two ways, but
My
it's completely up to us.
My understanding is that Zelensky and Putin are gonna be meeting. I think it's in Belarus. They're actually gonna be meeting so they can negotiate a ceasefire. They have to because the Russians, I understand that they're taking a lot of casualties. I mean, they're not just strolling into Ukraine. They're getting met with real resistance.
But you know what's crazy? Ukraine doesn't have the same nuclear power that
no,
Russia
they gave it up. They gave it up after the fall of the Soviet Union. They made the mistake of giving it up because they did have nuclear weapons.
And they even have a nuclear plant. Hello, Chernobyl. So I think, if Ukraine doesn't wants to go in an ego trip, which I doubt, because when you evaluate the character of their president, like wasn't he like a comedian or something like that?
The current president was like an actor, comedian, businessman, and he was elected as the replacement for the previous president that was forced out of office, and they were not very happy with him after that because of allegations of corruption, of course, and other things. But maybe him actually putting on a uniform and being out there in the cold with his troops and all of that, it's gonna be positive for his image. I mean, and unfortunately, our
but
people
not for Ukraine's though.
No.
Because look, the losing party is the one that has to sign the peace treaty and trade off a lot of stuff. So we don't know the terms that Putin's gonna impose on Zelensky.
We'll see. We're gonna have to see what happens in Belarus. They're supposed to meet to negotiate a ceasefire. We'll see what happens there.
Yeah, but I think if he's smart, because right now the ball is in his court. If he is smart, he will relinquish everything, which will hinder him ever participate or be part of NATO altogether. And we will go back to this weird normal that we're in. You know?
But, because there was one time when Putin actually tried to become part of NATO, if you can believe it. At one time. And Russia is part of the UN Security Council, though, even though with the conflict. So they still have a voice there with the Security Council.
But he's not. He wasn't the G7. He was not invited to NATO. Right now, it's complicated. It's like I said. It's like
it is.
It's so crazy that we are the same way that a conflict between an American and a police officer, like an American civilian and a police officer, usually goes, which is like they escalate everything and they pre-assume everyone is a fucking criminal. It's the same way we handle foreign policy, especially when Democrats are in the White House. And something that could have been resolved and talked to, now it's a fucking war. And there are civilians paying for it.
and it kind of changed me because you know that I have said it, and I stand by it to a great degree when it comes to our people. That a lot of us are very educated and we can be very smart, but unfortunately, there are too many of us right now that we're being kind of like clapping seals and celebrating everything that the Ukraine is doing and agreeing with the mainstream media about Putin and how he's a bad guy, how he's the El Cuco, the boogeyman, and the Ukraine are such great people and they have such a great system of government, which is bullshit because it's not. They're not a democracy any more than Russia is, and where our people, they're not informed as to what is happening. They know that there is a war, but they don't know the background of it. They don't know the backstory of it. So they are
Yeah,
being very quick to
because
agree.
media
Yeah.
will never inform that. It's kind of like what we saw with 9/11.
Oh
Everybody
yeah.
was hating, oh, like I hate this Talibans. Oh, like
No, I had
these
Muslims. I
people
had the
are,
Muslims. Yes.
yeah, all these Muslim people. First of all, let me tell you, like the amount of ignorance that we saw in America
Yeah.
and the rest of the West, it was overwhelming because Muslims at heart do not believe in violence. That's the
No.
first part, okay? Just
No.
because one faction does, that doesn't mean that that's the religion. That's the first
Yeah,
thing.
because of the militants, and when it comes to the whole thing about crashing the planes, that's highly questionable because I mean the those buildings were built to take more than that,
But look
another
at
thing,
this.
real quick,
Go ahead.
another thing is that okay, two planes crashed on the two big towers, but three buildings went down. Most people have already forgotten about that. I mean,
Not only that, the corner of the Pentagon that was also destroyed.
oh yeah,
Now,
because supposedly a commercial airline crashed into that part of the Pentagon, even though there
yeah,
were not really big parts of a commercial airliner. What you find in if you look at the pictures are pieces of a missile, pieces of
yeah.
a
But
kind of
but
like a
if you
support
think
engine.
about it, look,
Mhm.
in my opinion, this was just to demonize. This was like a power move to demonize George W. Bush, which now compared to Trump, it's looking like the fucking messiah to people. But back then, they used to hate George W. Bush. Americans hated the guy, but
No,
now he's a savior. Now, one thing I would say is like George W. Bush came into power in 2001.
uh,
Okay. There's no way in hell, no way on earth that you can plan an attack on American soil in
mhm,
less than 9 months. There's no way. I don't care how smart you are, I don't care how much power you have.
mhm.
The amount of logistics, money, and equipment that you're going to need, it's so immense
No,
that
no, you
there's
just
no
need. I'll
that
tell you
was
what you need.
planned that was planned way before George W. Bush took office.
And remember, you don't need that much equipment. You just need a few box cutters and you coordinate because
No, but the
that's what they told everybody
coordination.
that the terrorists got in the plane with a few box cutters that would have been seen on the X-ray machines. That wouldn't have happened. They wouldn't have allowed them to get on the plane with the box cutters.
Yeah,
Eh,
that's what I'm
Supposedly,
saying. I'm
that's how
like,
they do that, according to them. That's what they say. I
yeah,
mean,
look, for example, nobody talks about the planes. Nobody talks about that people because those people are all dead. So how can we even know what happened?
yeah,
Nobody survived that. In that plane, nobody survived that. We don't freaking know.
no,
So at the end of the day, why would a random faction of quote unquote Muslims, because I don't consider them actual Muslims,
mhm,
why would they decide one day, hey, I want to blow up something in America? Out of
no.
all the countries in the world, why would they decide to come blow up something over here? Have
There
people
was no
questioned
real.
themselves that?
No, there was
I'm
no
like,
real motive. There was
even
no
if
real motive for that.
even if there wasn't real motive, which I believe there was a motive,
No.
if it can go both ways.
Mm.
They have internal help because that's something that has not been considered, and it has been swept under the rug because people were very emotional about it. There was internal help, because there's no fucking way you can go to the number one most protected buildings in this nation, which is the Pentagon, and crash something into it. That can never happen. Okay, that's not gonna happen. And second of all, have people ever considered that possibly this was a reaction and not the actual initial action? Because every action has a reaction.
Mhm.
Was this a reaction, or this was the initial action? And then for that, we will have to then start talking to people in Iraq. And we have failed to do that miserably because we
Yeah,
hate
but
them
the
for no
Iraqis have
reason.
nothing to do with it. The Iraqis have nothing to do with it. That has already
Exactly.
been confirmed. I mean, if you look at the 9/11 Commission report, it's there. It's there. They admitted it. They admitted it, that the Iraqis had nothing to do with it. And remember, it was coordinated with a few box cutters by a few. It was done with a few box cutters, and it was coordinated by a guy in a cave in Afghanistan. So they
With
didn't, they
sticks,
didn't need a
look, with
whole.
sticks and turbans. I'm like, who would have thought it was so easy to do this to one of the number one nations in the world in military?
They built that multi-trillion-dollar security system, airspace, the monitoring system. They built all of that with a few box cutters.
Of
That's the
course.
official story.
Excuse me, guys. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to depart because
Yeah, I know.
because I have to get ready
stream.
for my live stream.
Yes, sir.
So your guys are more than welcome to pop in.
Yes.
Denise, if you're not able, I understand. What have you, but your presence will really be appreciated. But if you can't, it's okay. Before I go, I had a little accident. I slipped and fell at work.
Oh.
And as you can see, my left hand.
Oh, get that taken care of.
Wow.
Well, I did.
Yeah, but you're keeping that exposed. You need to have kind of like some kind of covering for it.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll talk about it, Denise. We'll talk about it whenever we're able on the telephone. First of all, Ramon, I just want to thank you very much.
Yes.
For allowing
thank
me
you.
to be on.
Wow, it's been over 2 hours. I wasn't expecting that because it started off. The stream started off a little bit slow, and I thought that we were gonna be joined by your friend Miss Kayfit. I thought that she was gonna be here.
I know. Unfortunately, she was not able. In fact, she was not. She was planning.
Yeah. She told me. She told me that something had come up, so she wasn't gonna be able to join. So maybe next time. We'll see what happens. So I appreciate it, Don Jose, that you were on my stream. I'll try and catch yours, but there is something that I have to take care of. So I'll see what I can do. I'll see, or at least I'm gonna.
Well, what I'll do is I'll stay on for maybe 30 to 45 minutes because I do have some stuff to talk about, and then if no one shows up or there's no activity, right. Our end the stream because no one's to hear me pontificate for over an hour.
No. I mean, do your thing. Get your message out.
Yeah, talk as long as you want.
Yeah, it's your channel. You do your thing. Do your thing.
Okay.
Drive people crazy.
Yeah.
Talk for 7 hours. No, I'm joking.
No, but I don't have that kind of energy. I gotta give them credit for being able to do these 12-hour streams or 8-hour streams. I couldn't do it. And the amount of time that we have been here, this is enough. I'm gonna be closing up anyway.
Well, I do hope you guys can join the stream. I do have a couple of things that I plan to show in regards to the channel. So hopefully you'll be able to join and see it, or else you're catching on the playback.
Sure thing. Yes, sir. I mean, I appreciate you being with us.
Yes. So, and of course, I gotta say my usual spiel. Which is I just want to let everybody know I'm going to be live on my platform in exactly 9 minutes of Uncommon Sense. And the topic for tonight will be, are we addicted to social media? And then what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be introducing uh, a new topic, which I call, what the heck is this?
So he
That's
has
kind of like a new series.
his Conor McGregor expression. You remember when he said, "Who the fuck is that guy?"
Uh,
That's the
No.
Jose's version.
No, but like I said, I do hope you guys can join. If not, you'll catch it. You'll catch it on the replay. And of course, I'm going to interview the introvert Boricua tomorrow.
yes.
And next Sunday, I'll be doing another stream completely in Spanish. I know, Denise, you're not going to be able to join in, for circumstances beyond your control. One thing I do need to do is interview Clara.
Clara.
So it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. We're gonna be able to talk to her and grill her and intimidate and make her uncomfortable with our questions and like, what do you want with Don Jose? What do you want? Don't be chopeadora. Don't be doing
Yeah.
that. No, I'm playing. But yeah, and looking forward to be able to interact with her.
Yeah. So, and the end of season 2 will be March the 20. Okay, now having a senior moment. Denise, you know I'm not gonna let it go.
Oh Lord.
No, but the last Sunday of the month of March will be the ending of season 2. And then season 3 will begin sometime in April. Now, what I would like to do, and at this point, whenever Denise, you are able, I want to bring up a topic for season 3, which is the difficulty of getting mental health services.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, you know what? When we have an opportunity to speak on the phone, I will share with you the motivation behind that.
Okay.
No problemo.
So
you say no problemo, like
No
in Terminator.
problemo. Like a gringo, no problemo.
Oh, I hate it.
is that
I
a
hate
shot at
that.
me, daughter?
Huh?
Is that a shot at me, daughter?
No, you don't say no problemo. You say problema. But I'm saying it like an actual gringo.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
problemo. No bueno.
Yeah.
Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
No,
Puerto Rico.
No, but hopefully, sometime soon, we will talk on the telephone, Denise. Whenever you're ready.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, so guys, I gotta get ready for my live stream. So
All right.
I just want to say, do not let the errors of the past damage your future.
Sure thing. Definitely.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right,
Again, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
All right, take care, guys. Bye.
All right, Chica. Anything else on your mind that you wanted to share? I'm not going to be staying much longer, but I wanted to make sure that we had a little something. Get whatever is on your mind out for the people that are still watching. Thanks for doing so. And I mean, we were on this subject with the geopolitics.
Yeah,
So I don't want
you give people a little bit of everything on your stream. We talk about how the feminists are heading to Ukraine. It's just taking them longer to gather all their garments together.
Yes.
We talk about.
Yeah. No, because I mean, I'm not following a script yet. I don't have like bullet points that I can stick to. It's whatever it goes.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
It's very refreshing. It's more like, chill, laid back. I like it.
Oh, definitely, definitely. I'm a chill, laid back dude. I mean, it's not like your stuff is organized, and I commend you for it because I don't have that kind of structure, organization for a channel. I mean, you have a news channel, so you have to have more structure to it, and that's definitely what is more appropriate. Here we are
Yeah.
just going by it. We're kind of like improvising. It's all
Yeah,
improv.
this is a cool platform. I like it because it's
Thank you.
more like relaxed and it's uncensored, but at the same time, like it's not like for dumb people. So of course,
Oh,
you're gonna get quality over quantity.
that,
You know.
uh, that's right. That's right. And it is not gonna be arguing and disrespecting people each other.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, no,
no, no,
no.
definitely that's kind of like the first rule there. No disrespecting, no causing out uh, other people. Of course, we're here and there. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
We're adults. We're humans. Eventually, we have to throw out a
If
cuss word here
not,
and
you would have to censor me because you know that sometimes my internal Evie Queen comes out.
there. Ah.
So
Yeah, I remember. I remember Ivy Queen. Wow.
she comes out sometimes, you know.
No, I mean, but it's good. I appreciate that you were coming up and you having the conversation and having a laugh here and there. I
Yeah,
mean, and
it was
because
really nice. I really liked it. It's something that actually I didn't knew I needed, but I know I wanted to, even if it was for a brief time, just to like show up and support my Puerto Rican fellow
yes,
introvert Boricua.
yes, and I appreciate it. I appreciate that you came up. And now you can continue. You can kind of like start bugging Don Jose on his channel. He's about to start his stream, so I mean, I'm
Yeah,
not gonna be able to catch it. Because I
I'm
have
gonna
something to
pop
do.
up here and there to see what Jose
Yeah.
is talking about. Troll him a little bit. No, I'm joking. joking.
Yeah,
No, but
he'll take the trolling. I know that your trolling is gonna be with love, so it's not gonna
yeah,
mind.
it's original
All right,
trolling. But anyway, I'm gonna head out. Thank you for having me, and I'll see you on the next one. Okay.
all right. Thank you for joining us.
Bye bye.
All right, all right. I myself, I'm gonna be heading out, and there are some things that I have to take care of, but I think this stream came out pretty good, pretty good. So I see that there are two people still watching. Well, I want to say appreciate you being with us and watching the stream. And soon enough, I should be able to bring another stream. And I don't have a subject for it yet, but it's gonna come out soon enough. I'm gonna let people know. So whoever has been watching, whoever catches us on the playback, whoever is still watching right now, I appreciate very much you joining us and watching. And that will be all for the moment. And until the next one, take care. Have a good one.